So it is, of course, Nathan. Hello, Kintt from Pandemic.
Hey.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, man. First question. If you had the option to live forever, would you go for it?
Yeah, of course. Would you not?
Well, I don't know. I think I might get a bit bored of life after like 500 years or something, and you would just sit around and do nothing, basically. Because, you know...
How could you ever get bored of hanging out with Jay every day? I mean, that'd be pretty awesome, I think.
It is pretty awesome, Kintt. He's a lucky soul. That's why he's so happy. All right, then, Kintt. So let's talk about World of Warcraft. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about 3.1. First of all, you are on Tournament Realm in USA. How's it going?
Well, personally, my team hasn't played on 3.1 yet. In the previous patch, it was going pretty well. We were up there at #1 for a while, and we've been hanging in top 5 the whole tournament. But
what's your name? What was your team name? Because I know you're aliasing like a little asshole.
It was Barksdale Crew.
Okay, you're 5th at the moment. High five, Kintt.
Right. Yeah, 5th. The top 4 are duplicate teams, so we're like 3rd technically. But yeah, as far as 3.1, I haven't got the opportunity to play yet, but I've been hearing some things, and I've heard about some matches, and it seems like Destruction Warlocks are going to be pretty nasty. Seems like, well, it's obviously different in America RMP, but our American RMPs might not be quite as fierce as we were thinking. So that's just from the first night of play, though. So
we could expect Galix and Azael to really capitalize on that. Now, I mean, you've been off the radar for quite a bit now. Your last tournament appearance was at LA, if I'm not mistaken, on the Extreme Masters Global Challenge. And what's been going on? Have you still managed to retain your passion for the game?
Yeah, I mean, I still play. We chose to forego Philly because personally I didn't feel like our team, I had a team that could contend there. And so then I've kind of been trying to decide what direction to go. And, you know, I thought I had a pretty good direction, but, you know, we'll see what 3.1 brings, just how it plays out. But, you know, I have still been playing, and, you know, I'm pretty excited about this year. Hopefully be able to pick things up a notch this year.
Yeah, it'd be great to see you back. Obviously, to remind the audience who exactly Kintt is, he was in the famous Pandemic in the first year of the WSVG, where they actually won actually got nominated for Team of the Year at the Esports Awards, and actually were by far the best team of World of Warcraft, and actually dominated and pretty much won everything, but flukily beat Fnatic in China.
But I seem to remember, I mean, you got...
Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys made so many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, you know, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but you definitely earned as a team over $100,000 in that year. And I was just thinking, you know, having that much success, did that sort of take the edge off your motivation a little bit?
Initially, I think it definitely did. I mean, there was a phase where it was kind of before I really got turned on to just how good some of the other teams out there were. You know, I would tell my manager, you know, well, before some of these tournaments, and he was like, "You guys been playing a lot?" I was like, "Well, no, not really. We really don't need to practice right now to win it." But then, you know, the whole year goes by, and so many more people got into it, and so many people, other people got an opportunity that, you know, and it definitely, having been done so well with probably not as much practice as some of the other teams put in, kind of was a bit of a setback, you know, but over time you realize, well, hey, that's not how it's going to be from now on. So, yeah.
All right. Also, I mean, obviously you're playing Paladin at the moment in your team. That's going to change a little bit, though. Paladins have had stuff moved around. Infusion of Light has moved down. You've got the new Consecration Aura ability where you press it and it's, you know, reduces silence effects and interrupt effects. Do you think that that's got worse, the Paladin, in 3.1, even though you haven't had a chance to play it?
You know, honestly, I think that Paladins probably didn't get worse. I think it's probably about you break even, a lot of the problems, like the concentration aura change is huge. Like playing against mage teams and against some of the good mage teams, you simply couldn't channel a heal before having to bubble or, doing something like that.
Yeah.
And now you'll be able to kind of save that a little longer in fights. But, I mean, on the other hand, you did lose the infusion. That's just one of the changes. I mean, not having the high dispel resistance on your hand spells is another huge issue. But, I mean, I think that overall Paladins are kind of going to be around the same, maybe even gaining a little bit. Like, I'm personally not all doom and gloom about Paladins from that point of view, but I think that the Druid and Priest changes might just make them better than Paladins, not because Paladins got nerfed, but because the other classes just got so many gains there. So,
what particularly in the Druid tree do you, or in the Druid talents, the change in 3.1 gives kind of that impression that they should be getting slightly better than you, maybe?
Well, first of all, the DK change against Druids is probably the biggest thing, without question. I mean, the Plague Strike change is huge.
Yep.
The HOTS are going to stick.
Not be removed.
Another thing is that, the Life Loom change, it's bad and good. I mean, you can put up the 3 Life Looms and let it bloom, and it blooms for, over 10K now. And so I think that, and then combined with the new Tree of Life changes, I mean, Druid's got a lot of hardy buffs, and, but the biggest thing is the Death Knight change. And the Druids, their Rogue Mage Priest is still so popular, and, I mean, Druids are pretty good against it. I mean, they're immune to Polymorph. They really don't have to channel near as much as the other healers. I mean, I just think that Druids are going to be pretty solid in some of the turtle comps now. Yeah,
so what do you think about then, because actually in Flame, on the tournament realm in EU, as you probably noticed, has been playing Warrior Lock Druid. What do you think with the changes to Warriors, maybe the nerfs to Warlocks, but Druid still being strong? How do you think Warrior Lock Druid is going to fare for him over in Europe when he's going up against a lot of RMPs?
Well, I think that Warrior Lock Druid against RMP is going to be a really strong matchup right now. I mean, you said that Warlocks got nerfed, but personally, from what I've seen, I've dueled a bit on the TR. I haven't done any arenas yet, but Destruction Warlocks are insane right now. I mean, first of all, they have quite a bit more survivability than the typical Affliction Warlock we've been seeing. They have Nether Protection. They gain 6% extra mitigation from Demon Skin or some Molten Skin, something like that. And then they got the new Soul Link glyph. So you have that. And then, the amount of damage that they can put out if the RMP team decides to go on their Warrior or their Druid is insane right now. I mean, for instance, last night, EG was playing against Complexity, and Isaiah was telling me that, pretty frequently they were killing Happy Mini when he was at 80% with a Power Word Shield on, just because of how insane the Warlock burst is now. So, I think that, especially considering how popular Rogue Mage Priest is over in Europe, that Inflames will fare extremely well.
That's very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, lots of surprises going to be coming up now. 3.1's been released, and I'm just curious what you're doing sort of outside of the game, because obviously in 2007 you had so much success. There must have been a point where you thought to yourself, yeah, I could do this as a living maybe. And I know you were dropping in and out of college sort of at the time. What are you up to now? Are you playing full time?
Yeah, well, I kind of had taken off because this year. Because, at one point I was kind of getting into the casting business at the beginning of this year before I decided I wanted to play again. So I took some time off, and, I'm honestly at this point, I'm like, yeah, it's great. But if you look at some of the prize money and just the whole situation in our world right now, with the whole crisis that America has caused, sorry guys, but I'm definitely
that's all right, Ken.
In school. In the fall, and going to be doing that. But, I mean, I'm doing Arena Cast too, which you guys should all listen to.
Yeah, I do listen to Arena Cast. You can actually, obviously, it's all you kind of American professionals get together and just really kind of chat it out and break it down. Our audience will certainly be interested in that. So where can we get hold of Arena Cast and Kintt?
Yeah, I mean, it's at arenacast.net, and it's a weekly podcast. We're kind of in a transitional phase. It's typically on Wednesdays, but I think we're going to be going to Saturdays.
You can't compete for Wednesdays, can you? Face it.
I'm not sure on the details yet. JP hasn't decided, but yeah, we've been trying to grow that, and that's kind of opening up some doors too. So I mean, it's a good project. I mean, it's kind of a counterpart in America to kind of what you guys are doing at ESL TV.
Yeah.
So you've got quite a few things going on, but looking back at, I mean, all the time you invested into the game, do you ever regret how much time you spent playing WoW?
You know, I think that if you ask anyone who's played WoW at a hardcore level, they would probably have some regrets. I mean, I don't regret a lot of the experiences that I've had because of the game, but, you know, some of the times, you know, well, hey, I mean, you obviously do miss out on some real-life stuff. But, I mean, yeah, there's always some regrets. But at the same time, you know, I would have never gotten to go to China, and I would have never gotten to meet Jay if I hadn't have been so hardcore into WoW. So, I mean...
that's probably a reason not to invest too much time.
Shh, Matthew. We're good friends. We're good drinking buddies. All right then, Kintt. I got a couple more questions before we have to let you go. Will you still be playing your Paladin Death Knight DK, do you think? Paladin Death Knight, sorry, Warlock, by the end of Tournament Realm and going into the Europeans, if you, sorry, the American tournament, if you make it?
You know, for the remainder of the Tournament Realm, that is definitely what we're going to be running. I mean, that's... even if we wanted to change, we couldn't because of the way it works. But, you know, as far as what the future holds for our team class-wise, I'm really not sure. I'd like to be able to stick to that comp because, you know, I think we're all extremely comfortable on those classes. I mean, Paladin is not exactly my main, but, you know, I've gotten pretty good at it. My Warlock is extremely sick at Warlock, and I'd hope dearly that he can continue to play that class. And my DK is really comfortable in DK, so I mean that's going to be our goal. Like I said, I mean 3.1 it could change everything. It might not be viable, and we might have to make some changes. And you know, if we have to do that, we'll be prepared to do that. But personally, that's not what I would like to do. But I mean, sometimes you just got to change.
All right, well, that's, yeah, I mean, if it has to come that way, I'm sure you guys are adapting, we'll be able to change. All right, so that is Barksdale Crew, my audience, and everyone can follow you for the tournament run. We wish you luck. Of course, Kintt, if you ever don't get luck at a tournament, you're more than welcome to sit down with us, ESL TV and guest cast. I'm sure everyone would love to hear from you. But apart from that, we have to let you go. Have you got any shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to everyone on Laughing Skull, my guild, my teammates, Team Pandemic, great sponsors. Shout out to our homeboy Serenia the Fulox. I mean, he just got kicked from his guild, so if any guilds out there on the U.S. side are looking for some sick DKs, you might want to pick up Serenia. He comes with baggage, but, you know, it's all good. But, you know, other than that, that's all my shout outs.
All right, well, awesome. All right then, Kintt. Well, thank you so much for coming on to talk with us, and we're checking on Arena Cast with you, so take it easy.
All right, guys, have a good day. Have a good night.
Yeah, so Kintt then, all the way from America, from Pandemic, currently 5th in Tournament Realm.
He's a great guy. Yeah. You know what? The last time I saw him was actually in LA at the CGS World Finals, and he just picks up like 15 or 20 grand. You know, it was like their 10th tournament win or something crazy. And he was buying all the players there, all the Europeans, pizzas.
That's how you party.
That is how nice he is. That's how generous he is.
No, Kintt's the best. I mean, and certainly if he ever gets to sit down next to either one of us and do a guest cast, he's more than welcome. As he is, everything he says is very, very valid and spot on. But he's particularly thinking that Inflame in the tournament realm in Europe is going to soar through, maybe through those RMPs. But it'd be interesting to see what Destruction Locks will do, and we'll have to think about it. We do have another interview, actually, and I think we should get hold of this very special individual as soon as we can. But before we go into that part of the show, for our second interview, for our kind of weekly roundup of everything, and also Epic Fail of the Week, because there always is one, we don't know what it is going to be this week. We're going to go to a quick advert. And when we come back, it's the second half.